This is Cerina Vincent from Cabin Fever and Return to House on Haunted Hill, and you are listening to the Don't Go Out There podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast powered by the Roll Up Network. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. Super excited for this upcoming interview. We are joined today by another legend of the business with nearly 100 credits to her name, best known for her roles in Cabin Fever, Not Another Teen Movie, and many others. Actor and author, Miss Cerina Vincent. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you, guys. I'm great. Thank you for having me. And a legend, that's quite a title. Honored. Thank you.
Ms. Vincent, we just like start all of our interviews by asking, what is it that got you into the acting business?
Well, okay. My mother was a dance teacher, so we had a dance studio in the back of our house. So I grew up with this space to play make-believe with an attic full of costumes, singing and dancing, making up plays, and I loved it. Like, the arts were just really encouraged in my home, and then when I was 12, I joined a theater company, like a children's theater company. And so I started doing plays and different things. And I think I was in second grade when I was like in the school Christmas play, and I memorized the whole play, like everybody's lines. So it just was in me, from the beginning, I would say. But I didn't know how people actually did this for a living. I didn't know how you got from, being, just doing plays in your hometown to being in film and television. So of course it was like a journey, getting a career path carved out, but that's where it all began.
That's awesome. And, speaking of beginnings, you started off with some TV early in your career, and I know you have a huge following with the Power Rangers. I mean, that's a big fan base, but your TV resume is very extensive. I mean, you've got Ally McBeal, CSI, Bones, Mike and Molly, Two and a Half Men. I mean, the list goes on and on. So, I mean, how does working on TV differ than films for you? And I mean, do you have a preference between the two?
Well, it's a lot different, actually. Television shows are like, when you're on and I was just on a Disney series called Stuck in the Middle. Like, when you're on a TV show, it's just very structured, and you go to work every day, every week. I mean, those that you mentioned were guest star roles, so I was there for a certain episode.
Right.
But it's nice to. I don't have a preference. I love both. Like, I love, getting whisked away on a movie set, and you're just sort of like, especially when you shoot on location, you're away from your own life, and your only focus is that role every single day. And, it's a big, like, ensemble experience. And, television, most of the time you're, sleeping in your own bed. You can drive to work in the morning and come home at night, and it's like this schedule thing is different. And that seems like like a silly, simple thing, but it's actually a really big deal.
Right.
When you talk about, like, especially now as a mother having a kid, like, I can't just go away to Bulgaria and do a movie. I mean, I can, but, like, ideally, like, it's really nice to be able to live, like, in your home where you live, and go to work and do what you love.
Absolutely. Totally understandable.
But I want to do both. I don't ever want to have to choose,
Well, good. It doesn't seem like you have to choose, so that's fantastic. And all right, so I know it's not horror, but I have to ask because it's one of my favorite movies, and your first feature film, if I'm not mistaken, Not Another Teen Movie in 2001. Can you talk a little bit about that? And, how did you get the role? What was your experience like, on set working with Kyler Lee, Jamie Presley, and of course the amazing Chris Evans?
Yeah. So after Power Rangers, after that show ended, I was really busy and auditioning for all kinds of things and, lots of roles and lots of things. And that, I remember getting that script, and that back before email, you had to go like pick up a hard copy script at your agency. And,
Right.
I remember reading it and thinking like, oh my God, this is hysterical. This is so funny. But I was like, I wanted to read for a different role. I didn't want to read for Ariola, the foreign exchange student. I didn't want to like be naked the entire movie. I wanted to I auditioned for that role, and they offered it to me. I got it. But they, I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could do the nudity. So I turned it down, and they actually hired somebody else, and it didn't work out with her. And then it came back to me. And then I just, made a really hard decision, or a big decision to do the nudity. I was young. I was 21, and I, at that point, it never occurred to me that I was going to be faced with a question of, will you do nudity for a role? Like, I hadn't come up yet in my career, and I didn't even think about how I felt about it, because like I wasn't faced with a decision. So it was a huge decision to do. The movie was a blast to make, but like, because my character was totally naked the whole movie, but nobody was supposed to notice that was like what the words were in the script and describing her, and in 5 different accents and the whole thing. I didn't get to spend time with the other castmates, because like I was just like in a robe, like sequestered, like away. And when you shoot scenes, like anybody shooting a nude scene on set, they call it a closed set. So anybody who doesn't have to be there can't be there. So a lot of times they would shoot everybody else and then bring in and just shoot my coverage. And then so I wasn't like hanging out with anyone. So I didn't actually get to bond with the cast as much as I would have liked, because of just the nature of my role.
Right.
And then I was supposed to be in it a lot more. Like, I was in the big dance number, and there was all kinds of other funny moments. But there was the actor, I forget his name now, but he was only 14 at the time. And you can't have an actor nude on set and a child on set, even during the same day, I think, by union rules. So I got cut out a lot. But anyway, it was great. It was great. But then like, holy shit, then you're like, sorry, you can beat that out if you want, but then it was like out there for the world to see, and that was tough. The judgment that came after, just the judgment of your body and the judgment of doing nudity, I wasn't expecting that. And that was also like, I definitely had to work through that and figure out how to metabolize all of that energy.
Right. Now, and by the way, you can cuss as much as you want to on the show.
Okay.
But so does that happen a lot with roles? I mean, do you get offered the role a second time a lot? I mean, when you turn one down, does it come back to you, or usually that's
no? Yeah, that's it. So that was just like I don't know, an anomaly. Like I do feel like that was very ballsy of me to turn it down, considering I wasn't doing anything else. I was totally broke, but like, I didn't feel like I could do the nudity. I just didn't feel like I could. But then it ultimately, no, it doesn't happen a lot. And I don't turn down jobs a lot. I as much as there was a time where I was getting offered all kinds of things, like, nude roles and like low budget horror movies. And you do have to turn those kinds of things down, so you're available to do better work and, all the TV shows that you just mentioned. And, you need to sort of like set the bar higher, but it's tricky, because if you're not, you also have to pay your bills. So you're always doing that dance of like, I don't really want to take this job. I really feel like, I'm not so super sure how this movie's going to turn out, but I got bills to pay,
Yes, ma'am.
And there's that.
Miss Vince, I'm just going to transition to the horror genre real quick.
Yeah.
Cabin Fever. We haven't reviewed that movie yet, but I know, all of us on the show, we really like the movie. You played Marcy. How did you meet Eli Roth and eventually get that role?
I got the audition. They were already in North Carolina, like prepping to shoot. So I got the appointment, and I had to put myself on tape, which now we're doing every single day from our house. Like I taped 2 auditions today from
Wow.
my house, but I had to put myself on tape. But that was back when, like, literally I was like rolling a VHS, like like a movie camera, and sent in a VHS tape, mailed it. And he watched my tape, and then he called me and he gave me some notes. He was like, I just want to like give you some direction and see a new version. So I got a second shot at that. Um, and sent in another tape and got the job. So again, the process was just, I worked for it. I auditioned for it.
Yes, ma'am. And from what I
And
understand,
that movie was amazing. Like it
Oh yeah.
was so much fun to make. It was such a wonderful experience, everybody involved. And like we really believed in it. But we didn't know that the world was going to freak out over it. Like we did. So it was really cool, all, from the beginning to the end.
well, I think Eli Roth made quite a few movies that are quite shocking. Uh,
Yeah.
from what I understand, there was a decent amount you shot that didn't make it into the film. Is that correct?
Of Cabin Fever,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
there was a few things that didn't make it. Joey Kern and I had a really fun scene that I felt like really set up our characters and like who we were, that unfortunately got cut because Joey had like a few different accidents happen with his eye.
Oh geez.
Like glass in one of the scenes where like the car exploded, like the glass blew up and out into his eye. And
What?
then we were shooting. Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. And then we were shooting, and it's like his eye was finally better. And then we were shooting this scene where we're arguing over whether bread goes in the fridge or on the counter. And he storms out of the cabin, part of the scene, and like
Right.
a 2x4 hit him in the face.
Oh my god.
So we never actually got to finish shooting that. So that scene is the one that sticks out that I know that didn't make the film, that I felt like set up our characters. But I mean, it's pretty fun. You don't need it.
That's definitely some terrible luck there. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so just to transition a little bit, I mean, you're incredibly multi-talented, and you've also co-authored some books, namely "How to Eat Like a Hot Chick" and "How to Love Like a Hot Chick" from
Yeah.
HarperCollins. You co-authored those with Jody Lipper. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah. So let's see. It was after Not Another Teen Movie. It was after Cabin Fever. I don't know, in my 20s or so, and it was just that time where the Paris Hilton had that reality show, and everything was hot this and
Right.
hot that, and it was coming off of the time where like now curves are in. It's like in to be, have, you know, TNA, boobs and a butt, but like forever it was like that heroin chic, as everybody had to be as skinny as possible, and it was really annoying and really tough on a lot of women, no matter what you do, but definitely actors. And me personally, I went through my own, share of eating disorders and things like that, and body image issues, and so I got over that, and my girlfriend and my friend and I were on a plane to New York to just have fun, and there was some middle-aged, pudgy white man telling women how to eat fat-free and how to cook fat-free, and he made this like really lame fat-free burrito. And I looked at her and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, if anybody is going to be telling women like what to eat, it should be like women. It should be like girlfriend to girlfriend, and like also I had spent too much of my life, and I think many women do, and men, feeling guilty for eating a cupcake or eating pizza, and like lamenting over the fact that you're going to eat it, and then paying, feeling like you have to repent for, hours at the gym later. And I was just done with that. It's just, we have this one very short life, and there's a lot of fun to be had, and we need to be healthy, but we don't need to waste time and energy feeling guilty over a fucking cupcake. That's like was our motto. And too many women didn't feel beautiful. So we just were like, F this. We're going to write a book called How to Eat Like a Hot Chick. We're going to define the term hot chick. It's not about how you look. It's about an inner confidence and beauty. And we're going to tell women that this is the anti-diet book. Eat what you love how you feel. And it's really funny. They're irreverent. They're ridiculous. And yeah, so we did 3 books with HarperCollins. And then that kind of fizzled out. We tried to turn it into a reality show. That didn't really happen. But and now I have a book for babies and toddlers coming out soon, which we can talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that's where that started. And it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
That is. Ms. Vincent, as a writer, can you tell us about any screenplays you may have authored yourself?
Yes. Sorry, my child is yelling. Well, let's see. I mean, it's tricky because like one of them sold but hasn't been made, and I'm working on another one that I don't want to talk about them yet, right? Until they're done. But I'm working on a horror film with a friend of mine. I have another horror film that I wrote years ago that I want to revamp and make. But yeah, I love writing. It's a huge other piece of my life and my career. But I mean, most of my work is in, film and television.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you get those screenplays made, come back on the show and we can talk about them again. How about that?
I would love that. I'd love that. There's a horror film I'm writing right now that I'm super excited about, a horror comedy. But yeah, let's do it.
Well, that's a great transition, because the next thing I'm going to ask you about is the return to House on Haunted Hill from 2007. You played Michelle opposite of, another legend, Jeffrey Combs, and Amanda Rigetti, who I love from Friday the 13th. Can you talk a little bit about working on that sequel?
Yeah. So it was a sequel to the remake, and it was a blast. We actually shot that movie in Bulgaria, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know if you know this, but there's like a version of it, and not every version has it, but where it's like a choose your own adventure type of thing. So you can pick a different ending. Like I died like 2 different ways. I've actually never even seen the second way, but so it was like kind of a complicated movie to shoot, because there's all these, like, they call them bridging scenes where you could, choose your own adventure. So it was a big movie to shoot, but it was a lot of fun. Eric Palladino was in that movie, and we had a lot of fun together. And I mean, it was just a blast. Anytime you have an opportunity to do what you love in another country and like see how another culture lives and works, and grateful for the experience.
Ms. Vincent, It Waits has a bit of a cult following as well, joining a ton of your other films. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, by the way,
was that your first starring headlining role?
No, sorry, totally interrupted. You can call me Cerina, by the way.
Okay.
But thank you. You're so polite. Wait, was It Waits my first
starring headlining role?
Like lead?
Yeah.
Maybe it was. I think you're right. Right, where I was like in every single scene. Yeah, that it was my first. I kind of didn't even think about that. And then I did quite a few others, or a handful of others after that. But that one was like there wasn't very many other people in the movie. So that was a great film. Horror fans love it.
Yeah.
Creature fans, fans of creature films love that one. The creature was really cool. Again, I shot that in Vancouver, so like I had never been to Vancouver, but my work took me there, and I'm super grateful for that experience. I met someone recently who said the work isn't the job. The work is before you get the job. And then when you get the job, like that's just the cake, like that's the bonus. And it really feels that way. Like the work is here in my house now, just tons and tons of auditions and self-tapes for all kinds of cool projects that you just hope people are watching them in this new way that we're doing things with COVID.
Right.
Before, when you walked into a room to audition, that they're watching you because you're in the same room.
Right.
But it's hard to, casting directors are like inundated with tapes, and it's hard to know. You don't get that feedback, and you're like, when you're a performer, you need, we need feedback. We want to know. Anyway, I'm super proud of every tape I send in, and I think I'm going to book every single job. But it doesn't work like that. And so I'm just so reminded now of that, what I just said, like the work is really like, is the work is trying to get the job. That's like the hardest part about being an actor, is all the roles you play and characters you fall in love with and lines that you memorize that don't go your way. And then when you actually get the job and you get to go to Bulgaria or Vancouver or whatever, and that's all. I mean, yes, they're hard, and yes, it's work, and it's long days, and it's cold, and you're wet, and it's sometimes you're sick. I was really sick on it. Wait, like I had like the flu or something, but you're working. We're doing what we love, and we should be grateful for that. And I always am.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of COVID and 2020, I mean, most everybody was stuck in their houses, but the good thing about that was everybody was devouring content, and you had 3 projects in 2020, Secrets in the Water, Killing Eleanor, and My Daughter's Psycho Friend. Do you have anything you'd like to kind of tell our audience regarding those? Any favorites?
Actually, Killing Eleanor is coming out soon. It hasn't come out yet. It comes out in October. I play a really small part in it, but it's a really beautiful film, written by one of my dearest friends, Annika Marks, and directed by her husband, Rich Newey. It's a really, really beautiful indie film, and I was actually pregnant.
Oh wow!
They talked about me playing a different role in the film, like a bigger role, but I was pregnant at the time, so I flew in, and I was very pregnant and just did a little part pregnant. And Secrets in the Water, I haven't seen yet. I've heard that it came out to like overseas, but I don't think that they've released it here yet. That's supposed to be for Lifetime, and My Daughter's Psycho Friend was also on Lifetime.
Okay.
I did that movie 5 weeks after I had my baby.
Oh wow!
5 weeks, and I don't know if you have kids, but trust me, that's like really early.
Oh yes, I have 2, and I have a 17-month-old. I
took the baby with me. Like, he was on set with me every day, and they, like, the director was amazing and let me like nurse between takes and stuff. But I was exhausted.
That's what I mean. It just seems like a just hard, physically exhausting thing to try to do.
Oh my God, it was impossible, but I did it. But I don't even know how, but I did. And so yeah, that's those 3 films. And but yeah, like I said, Killing Eleanor comes out next month, and Secrets in the Water hopefully sometime soon.
Awesome.
I'm not sure if there's much you can say about this one, but you're credited with having the next big hit in pre-production. Is there anything you can tell us about that? Yes or no?
It's a really fun script. It's a musical comedy.
Nice.
It's a martial arts musical comedy.
Oh, okay.
And I know the creator, the writer, whatever, and we worked together in a movie called called Everybody Wants to Be Italian, and it was really fun. So I said yes, let's do it. But I think that they're still getting their financing together or something. So we were supposed to shoot in July, and I haven't heard anything. So that's all I know.
Okay, we'll definitely be keeping an eye out on that. Just a little fun question. We started asking a while back. I mean, there's no right or wrong answers, but after we asked Lisa Wilcox and Robert Englund, and Kane Hodder answered with some crazy answers, so we just kind of started.
I love Kane.
Yeah. So we just kind of like, started asking, just to get some interesting answers. But
Yeah.
you've been to a few horror conventions yourself. I mean, is there anything that stands out to you from any of those that was just like funny or sweet or just inappropriate that, is either like you've witnessed or had happened to you at any of those things?
At horror cons? Okay, well, first of all, I love horror cons. So all you horror fans that I've met before, I love you. And any horror fan that I haven't met at a horror con, I love you too. And I can't wait to meet you one day. I think that they're so fun. It's a really just exciting way to bridge the gap between filmmakers and fans, and then we all become friends. And if you don't have the fans, we're not making films, and it's the circle of life, the circle of film. So the thing that stands out in my mind is I met my baby daddy at a horror con.
Oh, okay.
So you
Wow.
never know what can happen at a
Never
horror
know.
convention.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going through a divorce, and um, my personal life was just a mess. And I met this random guy in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania at a horror con. And here we are together with a baby.
Well, that one wins it. I think that
That's the best answer
that's
we've
definitely the
He
gotten.
best
said
one we've gotten.
he works with Bruce Campbell, and he came up to me and he said, I'd like to invite you to a dinner tonight with Bruce Campbell. And I was like, oh, okay. And so he's like, so if you give me your number, I'll text you the information. So I gave him my
Smooth.
number, but I
Smooth.
didn't mean to give him my number, but he was smooth. Yeah. And anyway, that was the beginning of that.
That's awesome.
That's definitely the best answer
Yeah.
you've gotten, Brian. We're going to put that one at the top of the list.
There you go.
Uh,
Woo! Good. Okay, good.
Cerina, Miss Vincent. I'm sorry, I got to keep saying Miss Vincent. Is there anything
No,
else
call me
that?
Cerina.
Okay, Serena, is there anything else that you'd like to plug or tell the audience about? Maybe shout out social medias where they can follow you and keep up with your work.
Yes. So follow me at Cerina Vincent on Instagram and Twitter. Yet I'm never really on that, but on Instagram I'm all over that. So follow me there and look for what's next. Lots of things going on. Oh, I have a podcast too, guys. Um, it's called Raising Amazing, and I co-host it with a pediatrician. It's not horror at all, but we talk to tons of celebrity parents and doctors and experts and professionals about health and wellness and just how to raise our kids right and like do what's best meant for mental health and our physical health for kids and families. And it's awesome. So check that out. Raising Amazing on all platforms. And I have a book called Everybody Has a Belly Button coming out from Skyhorse Publishing in January. I wrote this the day George Floyd was killed. My child was 14 months old, and I was devastated like most of the world, and thought we need to do a better job of teaching our kids about skin color and race and equality, equity. We need to start early. And so I wrote this little book that teaches babies. It starts the conversation about skin color and our differences, just in the same way you teach your baby like where their belly button is and their nose and their eyes and their toes. And illustrated by a beautiful artist named Zoe Hunter. And yeah, you can pre-order it everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. So check that out too.
I'll definitely will because my daughter is just getting into reading. She loves books, so I will definitely pick that one up. I'll do that. And everybody that's listening, Raising Amazing, go subscribe to that right when you get done listening to this.
Please,
Five,
yeah.
five
And
stars
we
on
talked a lot of
iTunes.
cool. What'd you say?
5 stars on iTunes.
5 stars on iTunes, which I will do the same for you, my friend. um, yeah. Thank you.
Serena, just want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been a blast talking to you. We really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you guys. I don't even remember how this all happened or how we connected, but you guys are great, and thank you for asking me to be on your show. And yeah, I'd love to come back when I've got that horror movie coming out.
Absolutely. We would love to have you back at any point. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye, guys.
And just want to remind everybody to don't go out there.